Welcome back, everybody. This is Barry and Eric again. Tonight we got a gun gripe that's been a pet peeve of mine for all my life, working life. It's called guns in the workplace. One of our subscribers suggested that the other day, and it was like a light going off, and it's a real good gun gripe.
It's something that you think about a lot too. You know,
Right.
that all of us think about, all of us go through it, but very rarely do people bring it out in the open and talk about it, and that's what the point of this video is to do today.
That's correct. And I've worked for a lot of companies in my life, and a lot of them were very open about having guns in the workplace. As far as if you had a personal locker or something like that, you could lock it in there until quitting time and so on and so forth. Now around Moss Pond we have a strict rule here. We all carry here, but we don't ever draw our weapon unless there's a reason for it. When we wear guns around here, it's just part of the attire that we wear here to let people know that we're not going to be taken advantage of in the store and so on and so forth. And we've never been robbed. I've been here for 12 years, and we've never had any kind of a problem per se that I could prove somebody was trying to rob us. Now I've worked for companies. Now most of your big companies will let you keep your weapon in your vehicle on the company property. But as far as having it in the building, that's another story altogether.
Now, one thing that I want to kind of hit on there with what Barry mentioned about different places allowing you to have your weapon on the premises, maybe out in the parking lot in your car locked up or wherever, or in a lockbox, but not on your person. I know of a lot of people that I know personally. Of course, I'm not going to mention who they are, but most people, when they're confronted with rules like that, where basically their employer in some form of written policy has it set up to where essentially when they walk in the door they're disarmed. I know of a good many of people that carry regardless, and sometimes it's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. Now granted, some people would say, well, what if it costs you your job? You know, you carried at work, you got caught carrying, all right, it's going to cost you your job. But what I say to those people is, what if it costs you your life?
Correct.
I mean, you can get another job, but you can't replace your life. And of course, with all the things that we see in the current media, all these shootings that go on, of course, a lot of those particular instances are exaggerated, and they're over-glorified more just because of the type of agenda the media, mainstream media, wants to push. Of course, they're going to report gun accidents and shootings and all these things, but yeah, you cannot change the fact that those things do occur, and you definitely don't want to be caught with your pants down.
But
and it's better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6
if
anyway.
you look at the news media, some of the shootings at some of the big companies around the country, it's not that the guy went to his locker or his car and fetched his gun. He came back the next day armed. It's not the man who has a .38 revolver in his desk drawer. He's not the one that goes nuts. He's not the one that goes ape shit and starts shooting people. If you want to kill somebody, you go home and get your gun and come back.
That's right.
I've worked several jobs where instances where there has been instances where somebody might be threatening or whatever like that, but guns in the workplace, and most places don't have published policies, no guns, but it's just an understanding that you don't have it there. Now in 1980 and 82, I worked for RPB. We manufactured the MAC-10 submachine gun, the real thing, and we were armed to the teeth in that place. There was no telling when somebody might try to come in there, some kind of clandestine group, and clean us out of the guns or whatever. We were armed to the teeth, and nothing ever happened there. In fact, one humorous little story, we were sitting around the break room one morning waiting to go to work, and they had this new hire. He's sitting there drinking coffee, and we all walking in with guns on and all this kind of stuff, and he says, well, why are y'all carrying all these guns? He says, well, it's for our own protection. Oh, well, I can't work here. And he got up and quit before he even started the job.
That's right. And you know, it's just crazy how a lot of that stuff ends up working out, because you know, you look at like people that handle lots of money, you look at like bank tellers, you look at people that work in the financial industry. Those are people that should be carrying. I mean, if I was handling tens of thousands, or if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of cash a day, it seems like I would feel better being armed if I were a bank teller or whatever. But of course, banks, those are the most anti-gun institutions they are, because they think, oh, well, if you have guns on you, that your only intent is to, they think Hollywood, and they think, oh, well, someone with a gun is there to rob them. And, you look at, like, armored truck drivers. Those guys are armed. They handle lots of money. Why should anybody else be any different? It doesn't matter if you're a cashier, if you're a teller, if you work in the financial institutions. It shouldn't matter. If you are handling money, or if you have any amount of responsibility when it comes to valuable merchandise, you should be able to have a gun.
Well, it's some of the big chain stores too, like Magic Market was one of the first ones. I had a friend that I went to high school with. She worked till midnight, got off on a midnight shift, and they were forbidden to have any kind of gun, and they said, that no policy like that, so she didn't have one. She got off at midnight. A girl came and replaced her. They always said, just give them what they want. The girl was robbed at gunpoint. The guy took her outside, turned the close sign around where nobody would know that anything was going on, took her around back to the building and murdered her. That's the kind of thing that you have to deal with. And this happened 30 years ago.
That's right.
These big companies like that, and you've heard the term going postal. There was a guy that worked for the post office years ago that went postal.
Right.
And shot a bunch of employees, but postal carriers and even letter sorters back in the 30s and 40s were required to carry a gun.
That's right. And where the term postal comes from, like Barry said, when someone's going postal, the reason that saying kind of, came full circle in media and has just been coined so often is because traditionally a postal worker is a stressful job. And especially back in the 30s and 40s, 50s, in the early days like that, being a postal worker was a stressful job. You didn't have all the automation that you have now. You didn't have all the auto sorting that they have now. So back then it was considered a very stressful job, and that's kind of where that came full circle, is because people going postal, well, it's because they were fed up. They just got to a point where they went, I can't take it anymore, and they go nuts.
Well, with the economy the way it is, and the downward spiral that we're going now, is going to be expected to see more and more workplace violence.
That's right.
You take a person who's given their whole life to a company, and all of a sudden, well, you're out of here, buddy. I can understand that. I've gone from job to job. I've worked for 32 companies in my lifetime, and I've worked here for 12 years, so that shows you how fast I went through the others. But I've worked almost every job there is, and like Eric said, most of the jobs I worked forbid me to carry a weapon, but I had one.
That's right.
There's a line out of the movie The Unforgiven where Richard Harris said, if you don't see my gun, or more importantly, you don't hear my gun, it's none of your business.
Well, that's right.
And that's the way to do. You be low key, you have your gun, and in a situation you can choose to use it or not use it.
Well, yeah, like Barry said, when it comes down to guns in the workplace, I'm a law-abiding person, and you guys have watched some of the other videos of ours in the Gun Gripes, and you know where we stand on carrying guns all over the place, concealed carry, open carry. But when it comes to guns in the workplace, generically across the board, I'll say it again, that sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than it is permission. And if it means saving your life and the lives of your coworkers, or, at the end of the day, it's self-preservation. You have to go home at the end of the day alive. And if that means that you feel the need to feel more secure with a firearm on your person, then really some black and white text in some book somewhere isn't going to dictate, my right to security and life and liberty. And that's what it comes down to. A lot of these people, yes, it's a rough economy. People are worried about losing their jobs. People are getting laid off. People are, having a hard time finding work. So yes, a lot of us, to a degree, we're going to walk the line to, you're going to make sure your employer's happy. You're going to keep your job. But, me and Barry, the reason we made this video is just to kind of let you guys know that there are more people out there that carry at their job than probably not, and regardless of what the policy may be.
And I thought about it too, working at a company where everybody else is unarmed and I'm armed. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? These people right here, my gun is protecting them, and my job is on the line for that.
That's
and
right.
They don't realize the sacrifice that I'm making, but I'm there to protect their lives as well as my own.
Well, at the end of the day, alive is alive and dead is dead.
That's correct.
And I'll tell you what, I'm going home alive.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that, Barry and myself here, we're probably a little bit jaded when it comes to carrying guns at work because, hello, we work around a ton of guns every day. We both carry every single day. And plus, the area that we're at here, like if we go on our lunch break or if we go to run an errand, everybody around here knows who we are. Not only from the YouTube videos, but hello, we work at Moss. You know, we're the dudes from Moss. So everybody sees us, they know who we are. I can go in a gun store an hour and a half away from here and people know who I am.
I can go
because of these videos. But see, we get away with a little more because we work in a gun store.
I've gone to North Georgia. I've gone as far as Madison, Indiana, and somebody will say, "Hey, Moss Pond."
That's right.
They know me.
They know us.
And they know us and all. But anyway, getting away from that a little bit, we got a couple of guns we want to show you. We just got these in today. We've been waiting on the Draco pistols are out of production, but this is a built by Century Arms on a Serbian receiver. Now this is kind of between the regular Draco and the mini Draco. This is kind of in between, but this gun seems to be very high quality. We just got it in about 2 hours ago. How many did we get? About a half a dozen?
We bought 15 of them.
Bought 15 of them.
And we've got 5 more coming.
The internals of this gun are very clean. It's got it's got double hammer hooks in it. This is a very nice little gun, and I hope it turns out to perform.
I'm going to be picking one up for my collection, and we'll be taking one out and running it. It's got a few features that to me kind of set it apart. One is that it's got these real nice magazines that lock the bolt to the rear on the last shot, so that's a plus. It's got a hinged dust cover, which is neat. You know, that makes the whole cleaning process easier. It's pretty much a true crank style with the sights on the dust cover where they belong. And you know, we didn't want to make this part of the video too long. We want to show you that we do have these little guys.
But the quality of this gun is better than some of what we've seen from.
Oh man, I'll tell you what, this thing's just begging to be turned into an SBR.
Now right here, you got a little weld here. You can cut that, and then you can screw this off and put your crank brake on it.
Right. This takes the true larger diameter crank brake. It's got the larger diameter threads on it. So this will take a true crank brake, and I just can't say enough good things about this setup. And here pretty soon we'll be taking one of these out and we're going to run the piss out of it.
Right.
On the bump board, everything.
Okay.
All right.
Sound like a good idea.
And just for comparative purposes, I brought along the good old standby, the Kel-Tec PLR-16. This is kind of the little evil twin of the Draco type guns. Takes regular AR-15 magazines.
Half the weight.
Rail system, yeah, definitely lighter. Fires 5.56. So we wanted to showcase these guns a little bit. This is probably something that would not go over too well at the workplace, I imagine. But, you know, depends on how big your desk is. I mean, hey, just ask for a bigger desk.
Hey.
And, you know.
This will fit in a standard briefcase.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody needs to know what you got in your briefcase.
They don't.
Okay.
But to, you know, just trying to drive the point home, we wanted to talk a little bit about guns in the workplace. And we, you know, invite you guys to share your experiences of guns, either having them at the workplace or not having them, and how you feel about that. We're always welcome to hear your comments and suggestions on that. Share your stories, and maybe down the road we might even do a little bit of a reprisal on some of the gun gripes, and we might do an episode just on user suggestions and stories. We'll take the best ones, compile them into one video, and then that might be a gun gripe all of it.
We might do something like the top five gun gripe requests.
Sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do something like that.
So we still got some things in the pipeline, a lot of neat projects coming up. We do have more gunsmithing videos coming up, more reloading. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but we've really tried to keep the gunsmithing and reloading type stuff, the quality definitely up there. I know I may not post as much of that material, but we're really trying to push the envelope for quality and really provide you guys with top-notch videos in that genre. Another common question that we get a lot is people come in asking about gunsmithing stuff, about gunsmithing work, and they want to pick our brains about the gunsmithing aspect of the gun industry. And the best thing that we can really tell you guys, and we do get a lot of phone calls, in terms of the phone calls we get, a lot of them are about gunsmithing. And the best suggestion I can give to you is to check out the videos. I mean, they're a free resource. Doesn't cost you anything to watch them. Like, you know, Ray the other day just posted a long, hour-long video on breaking down the 1911 and everything you need to know about it. So we have a lot of those types of videos planned, and those are out there to help you guys that are trying to get into gunsmithing. And the best suggestion I can give you there is to just tear some stuff apart. It may even mean tearing up a gun, but, you know, start taking some guns apart and playing with them, and that's the best way to get into it, is to start doing it.
But like Eric said,
Yeah.
we've got a lot of videos on there that show you step by step how to do something.
Right.
And another thing I want to emphasize, don't ever force anything with a weapon. You don't, if you're having to force something, something's wrong, stop. Get yourself some help before you mess your gun up even worse. We get guns in here every day,
Yep.
every single day, that are locked up, seized up, put together wrong, so on and so forth. And a lot of people are just naturally curious. They
Yep.
want to take a gun down to the last piece, and that's not necessary.
Nope.
So
Well,
always be
that's going to be
careful
it for
with
this week's Gun Gripe. And coming up next week for the Firearms Fact, we're going to share some really neat little tips and tricks you can do that are going to be related to gun care and a few other odds and ends. Just good little facts to help you become a more well-rounded gun owner.
that. Right. So that's going to conclude the gun gripe for the day. I hope y'all enjoyed it and tune in again. May God bless y'all.